Have a day today, dog. Offense, great drive.
Go, go!
What's up?
1, 2, 3.
All right, welcome back to Florham Park, where the Jets are gearing up for Week 2 against the New England Patriots, a very familiar foe for the New York Jets. Welcome inside the BetMGM studio, Ethan Greenberg, Eric Allen. We have a great show for you, and feels like there's a little bit of an extra buzz in the building this week.
Well, listen, it's the home opener, and the Patriots are coming to MetLife Stadium. So Greg Van Roten told me yesterday, actually, that anytime it's Jets-Patriots, it's a big game.
And Greg Van Roten, of course, familiar with the rivalry because he's from Long Island, and he said that he's actually very happy to be a part of this rivalry. Let's kick things off with today's headline. For the first time since December 22nd, 2019, fans will be back at MetLife Stadium as the Jets welcome in the aforementioned New England Patriots.
Yeah, a regular season game. Listen, the Jets had some preseason action at MetLife Stadium, but this is going to feel totally different. Remember the 2019 season, the home opener actually was against the 2020, excuse me. The home opener was against the San Francisco 49ers. The defensive coordinator of that team was Robert Saleh. Things change. Saleh, of course, the first-year head coach of the New York Jets. That game played before thousands of empty seats. This game is going to be played before a rabid fan base that is just jacked on Mountain Dew, as Bart Scott would like to say. They'll be ready for this one.
I think Will Ferrell would like to say that, too. That's Bart Scott's big movie
Jacked
guy,
up,
right?
jacked up on Mountain Dew. That's right.
You're not a Mountain Dew guy, are you?
Not much. You?
No, not really. But I do think it is very poetic, though, that the home opener, after a year away, with terms of fans being in the stands, happens to come against the New England Patriots, the Jets. Would you say the most hated rival?
I would definitely say that. Listen, everybody inside the division who Zach Wilson and company is going to face this year, they are rivals. So you see Keelan Cole out there with a smile on his face. That is good news for Jets fans because it's likely he's going to return to the lineup this week, as will Jameson Crowder. We'll get to that later. But, yeah, I think everybody inside the division, since you play them twice every year, is a rival. But considering the run the Patriots have had the last 20 years, of course, Jets fans look forward to this one every year, circling in the calendar.
I'm looking forward to it. In my time with the Jets, I'm still looking for my first win against the New England Patriots. Hopefully that comes Sunday. And to celebrate fans being back, Pregame Central presented by Uber Eats, it's mobile. Usually EA is in the BetMGM studio, but we'll actually be on the island at 11 a.m. The whole gang will be there. EA, me, Eric Coleman, Anthony Becht, and just some guy named Joe Namath.
It's always special when Broadway Joe makes an appearance. And just like we're talking about, you know if it's a big game if Namath is in the house.
Yeah. Are you excited? I'm excited to see what the fans are going to be like near the island.
Oh, it's going to be cool. We're taking it outside, like a game day experience, college game day. ESPN travels on the road all the time, but we're taking the show outside this beautiful studio, and we can't wait to talk to the fans. And Joe's going to bring a big-time crowd, and so will guys like Anthony Becht and Eric Coleman, who have such a good connection with the fan base.
This is the first time we've all been together since what, the draft? April's draft, or were they virtual? No, they were both here. They were here.
They were here.
You know, I got. It's been a long year, all right? But let's move on to our Jet in Focus here. Let's talk about a guy who probably deserves a little more attention. He had an impressive debut after putting himself on the map last year in 2020. That player, our Jet in Focus, John Franklin Myers.
The Jets actually got to Sam Darnold last week. The sack total wasn't big. They only had one sack, but it came courtesy of that man, John Franklin Myers. Darnold was hit 8 times in all. Franklin Myers 2 stops behind the line of scrimmage. Interesting fact about him, he's made 3 starts so far in his NFL career. He's going to make much more than that this year. And the Jets are high on him. They think he is a great fit for the system. And considering that Carl Lawson unfortunately went down in the preseason. He's going to be counted on to do some damage from the edge, and I thought he got off to a good start against the Panthers.
I thought so too. It's unfortunate because you're playing this game of what if. If Carl Lawson were playing across the way from John Franklin Myers with the Jets' interior defensive line the way that they played against the Panthers, but nonetheless, JFM I think has kind of emerged as that next pass rushing guy, and it feels like, I'm curious your take on this, talking to Leger Douzable, even in training camp, he likes JFM. Mike Tannenbaum tweeted about JFM as well. It feels like the NFL world is getting familiar with that guy right there.
Well, yeah, listen, he's a former early round draft pick, right? The Rams took him out in the 3rd round. This is a guy who's got all the talent in the world. And the thing that I like about Franklin Myers in terms of, as he's taking a look at the camera right now, enjoying the start of practice with Quinnen Williams there.
Wave,
yeah, we're talking about you, JFM. Good stuff. Good job by the production crew out there. But great versatility because you can kick him inside in sub packages, and then in base, obviously, can line up for you outside, and he can set the edge in terms of the run game and then go get after the quarterback. But he has a lot of tools in his shed.
What do you think Quinnen and Jonathan Marshall, who were outside of Franklin Myers, you think they were like, dude, are you mic'd up right now? You're not telling us? The camera's on you? No warning?
I don't know. I'm wondering if one of our camera folks told the guys that we're on live right now, and they're talking about you. And Quinnen is always having fun, and you love what he brings to the table. So, these guys, it's a good group. Great energy out there on the practice field. You'd like to see that at the start of the week.
All right, so look, JFM, he had 3 sacks last year. He had 1 Sunday. And Robert Saleh feels like last week was just a glimpse of what he's capable of.
He's fantastic as an edge setter in the run game. He can rush the passer outside, inside, and it just comes down to winning one-on-ones on a consistent basis, and the more he does that, obviously the better it's going to be. But really like his mindset, really like the way he approaches the game. Really like the way he communicates with his teammates. So he's been a blessing since the day we walked in this building, and we're excited to have him.
All right, be at MetLife Stadium for the 2021 New York Jets home opener against the New England Patriots. Sunday, September 19th, 1 p.m. All fans in attendance will receive a free Bud Light welcome back rally towel. Lock in your seats at nyjets.com/tickets. All right, let's move on to our roster report here. Earlier this week, kind of a doozy of a roster report because the Jets had multiple players placed on injured reserve. Mekhi Becton, LaMarcus Joyner, Braden Mann, and Blake Cashman. Then the Jets signed 4 players to the active roster: Jared Wilson, Isaiah Williams, B.J. Goodson, and punter Thomas Morstead. And then the Jets filled out their practice squad with offensive linemen Elijah Nkanza and a familiar face in Noah Dawkins. That was a lot. That was a lot right there. So, out of all this, what are you taking away?
Where do you want me to go with that? Listen,
let's start with the IR.
Okay, 14 players on injured reserve for the Jets, including the aforementioned Becton, safety Ashton Davis, now safety LaMarcus Joyner, linebacker Jared Davis, defensive end Carl Lawson, like we talked about, and even punter Braden Mann. Last week, on kickoff weekend, Del'Shawn Phillips was called up Saturday from the practice squad. He led the team with 9 tackles. Who's going to be starting next to C.J. Mosley this week? Jamie and Sherwood hopefully back in the lineup next week. And then we'll have our eyes also on the safety position. Like I mentioned, without Davis, without LaMarcus Joyner, you have 3 guys who will be vying for that starting role.
We just were taking a look at B.J. Goodson. I know I'm a big numbers guy.
Yeah.
48, not a fan. Not a fan of 4.
What do you want, the linebackers to be all 50s?
Well, I did like that B.J. Goodson used to wear 93. I thought that was kind of cool.
Okay, so can we say B.J. Goodson led the Cleveland Browns in tackles last year?
Yes. Yeah, throw it out there. We need some positive energy here.
So Phillips fills in last week, and he also had 3 special teams tackles. So Del'Shawn Phillips, credit to him for being all over the place. But I wonder who's going to be in that starting lineup. Is B.J. Goodson just going to get acclimated to the system right here? How about Quincy Williams, a waiver claim? Quinnen Williams' brother. Saleh talked about his length and size and how fast and violent he is. So it's going to be Yeah, fascinating to see as the Jets continue to shuffle the lineup on the defensive side of the ball. Offensive side of the ball, the big piece is Becton, and we know what's going to happen there.
George Fant at left tackle, Morgan Moses at right tackle. Taking a look at the receivers, that man right there, Jamison Crowder back, but that man, number 4, Thomas Morstead, is reuniting with probably his favorite gunner of all time, Justin Hardy. Look at this. Thomas Morstead in the Jets locker room after he signed, talking about how excited he is to play with Justin Hardy yet again. Those two, of course, played with the Saints for a long time, and that's why you got the double hashtag take flight and who dat for life.
Morstead in New Orleans, I believe, from 09 to 2020. Very good average throughout his career. And speaking of numbers, you just put up the clip of those guys inside the locker room. Do you like Justin Hardy's 34? That's a fantastic number.
Yeah, I do like 34.
And Hardy was getting after it in special teams. Jets coverage very good in game 1.
Last year, EA, we wrote about this when the Jets signed Justin Hardy. The Saints set an NFL record for punt return yards allowed, and it was something like under 50. It was crazy. And those two guys, Justin Hardy and Thomas Morstead, obviously two of the big pieces there.
But the guy next to him out there in the practice field, Matt Amendola, you talked to him after the game. What about his performance against the Panthers?
I can't believe he only took a single punt in a game in high school, and then he told the media that he never punted. So I don't know what to believe.
I don't know either. It's just incredible. 48.5-yard average on 6 punts, including the 65-yarder that he not only hit 65 yards, but it went out of bounds. There are the reinforcements coming in for the Jets receivers. Corey Davis, of course, great start in green and white. Keelan Cole back on the practice field. That's very good. He was inactive last week with the knee injury. And then Denzel Mims got in the game late. A couple snaps. One of them goes for 40 yards.
Yeah, that throw was probably one of the sickest throws of Zach Wilson's debut. And we'll talk about Wilson in a bit, but this weekend against the Patriots, how much can the reinforcements help with Jamison Crowder and Keelan Cole? How much can that help Wilson against this Patriots defense?
I think it could be huge. Jamison Crowder kind of flies under the radar. I think he only played 12 games last season. Jamison Crowder had 6 touchdown receptions last year. He had 6 touchdown receptions in 2019. He's a guy who continually finds holes in an opponent's defense. And what does Belichick like to do? We know. He's going to pay special attention to Corey Davis. Obviously, he's got great chemistry going with the rookie quarterback already. To get Crowder back in the lineup, I think that could be huge for the young quarterback and this offense. They got to get going earlier this week. I anticipate they will.
We mentioned Denzel Mims earlier. We just saw him on the screen. We listened to Mike LaFleur couple, let's say 20 minutes before coming on air here. What did you make of what he said about Denzel Mims and what Robert Saleh said earlier this week about Denzel Mims? Because the fans, I think, are like, well, this guy's a second-round pick last year. He gets on the field like 3 snaps. One of them goes for 40 yards. So what's happening there?
Well, you just said it. That was a great play by Zach Wilson. Let's give the quarterback some credit there. And the big thing about Mims is if you listen to LaFleur, and please check that out on NewYorkJets.com or the Jets app later, he said he's getting better all the time in practice. That is the aforementioned Denzel Mims. But in this system, these guys continue to reiterate that you have to know each and every position. And I think what held him back is not anything about him mentally or his physical skills. Was he wasn't on the field a lot in the spring and in the early part of the summer, correct?
Yeah, he had food poisoning, and then that knocked him out. And then remember, in training camp, he hurt his hip against the Packers in their second of 2 joint practices. That knocked him out of the rest of the preseason. And against the Giants in the only preseason game he played.
Yep, 3 catches, 51 yards. And there's a guy who produced.
And he had the 3rd and 18. That was like one of the plays of the preseason.
Yeah, and there's Berrios. He had 5 catches last week for 51 yards. It will be. The other thing to consider here is the Jets just got to move the ball early. That's going to allow LaFleur to have more variety with his personnel packages. He wants guys to get into rhythm and also change up and get the guys in the game. But I'll tell you what, when you're not converting on 3rd down, when you're not running the football, you have a limited amount of plays. Bottom line, the Jets scored 0 points in the first half. They were not driving the football in the first half.
EA's fired up. I love it. Before we talk about Zach Wilson, number 2, let's take a look at number 10, who was selected number 15 overall. That's Patriots quarterback Mac Jones, courtesy of Brian Baldinger in this week's Baldy's Breakdown presented by Sharp.
Thanks, Ethan. And this week, I want to take a look at the rookie quarterback of the Patriots, Mac Jones. Mac Jones had a great debut for the Patriots on Sunday. He threw his first touchdown pass as an NFL quarterback off play action right here to Nelson Aguilar. And he didn't turn the ball over. Here's the same play from the end zone now. Watch the play action. He showed all game long that he could stay in there and take a hit and deliver an accurate football. But he also could read a defense. Like right here, they're going to high-low Byron Jones, number 24, the corner. And when Byron Jones jumps this comeback route, he throws it over the top to Nelson Aguilar. The right read, the right throw. Another example right here. They have a switch route in the middle right now on 3rd and 7. All right, little switch right here. But he sees both defenders go underneath. He throws it outside to a wide open Jacoby Myers. And then he can throw the ball with touch like he does here. Watch this wheel route to James White out of the backfield and where he puts it. Puts the ball over the back, upfield shoulder right here, floats it, perfect location, drops it right in the bucket. He took a hit, didn't turn the ball over, had the Patriots in a position to win the game right at the very end when they fumbled. But he played smart, solid football.
Great stuff from Baldy, as always. That last row to James White. Very impressive. Jones was impressive in his debut, like Baldy showed us, but so was Wilson. And actually, this Sunday is going to be the first time in these teams' 62-year rivalry that there will be a rookie quarterback matchup.
I loved what I saw out of Wilson in the second half. You mentioned the throw to Mims, but how about the 4th down toss to Braxton Berrios? He had pressure up the middle, and he took a pop, and he delivered he had no space to get the ball to Berrios, and he still was able to get it there. We saw his athleticism outside the pocket last week on the Corey Davis touchdown throw where he just flicked his wrist and the ball travels 40 yards while he's sprinting 15 miles per hour to his right. And then we saw what he could do inside the pocket there on that second touchdown throw where good coverage by J.C. Horn, better throw, as Corey Davis said. He threw it to the outside. The only person who was going to get the ball was the receiver there. So the Jets have to better protect Zach Wilson this week. But, again, I thought they took strides last week. It's just going to be Saleh and LaFleur have talked of being the production. The emphasis has been not just the offensive line, but everybody involved there.
What do you make of Zach Wilson this week against the Patriots? We know what the Patriots like to do historically. They like to crowd the box, who disguise, who's blitzing, who's not, occasionally send everybody. How do the Jets fare up against that type of defense, especially with the rookie quarterback?
Saleh said Belichick attacks protections better than anybody. He is a master. And obviously the Jets had trouble with some stunts up front last week. They have to get better with the trust and the communication. But I'll tell you what's going to help the rookie, too, is that establishing that run game because we know that he's such an effective play-action passer. We know that he is good with the ball. And I just think that for the Jets, he can't be in 3rd and long against the Patriots, right? You got to have some success on early downs, get him into a rhythm early. We saw him get into a rhythm late for the Jets. Unfortunately, they weren't able to get him the ball for that last possession because it would have been interesting to see Wilson and LaFleur have the ball down 19-14 with maybe a minute 30 minute left.
What do you think about this guy right here, Mike LaFleur, what he said what he said to the media, but basically his biggest, I don't remember the exact wording of the question. Something about, when you see Zach take those hits, like what's going through your mind, he's like, well, I got to do better.
Yeah.
And I got to help him out. What is the key to this offense that was missing in the first half against the Panthers?
It's some of it's just execution. We talked about trust, and we talk about the guys. Everybody's got to be on it. If you don't have one player doing their job offensively, the quarterback can get hit, right? And the Jets too. Again, LaFleur has talked about that they're going to lean on the run game. Well, the run game really wasn't there for the Jets here in Week 1. Potentially, let's see if that can change here in Week 2 against the Patriots. What do you think? I mean, you're asking me what I thought. I just thought they were on their heels early in that game.
Yeah,
I thought it was a learning lesson for a young team on both sides of the football. The defense came in the second half. They made adjustments with Jeff Albrecht, and they got after Sam Darnold in the second half. And they really negated what the Panthers were doing offensively. Likewise, on the other side of the ball, I thought you started to see Wilson opening it up. And the Jets, I believe in all, they had 5 explosive plays in the passing game. Okay? And that's a good sign. Because against the Patriots, you just can't nickel and dime down the field. You got to have some explosive plays. And there were, as we look at Kavanaugh, watch his quarterbacks
Is that a pit
right
tattoo?
now. Yeah, Pitt Panther.
Yeah,
no doubt.
I'm just making sure.
Coach Calf representing there. Of course, he played there. But I thought there were very nearly a couple times where the play stands out to me, Elijah Moore in the first half. Those guys were really close to hitting something down the field.
And Mike LaFleur did say he does expect Elijah Moore to have a big game. I want to see Elijah Moore have a big game, and to do it in front of the fans at MetLife really would be something. And also, Jets fans, as you stock up for game day this season, keep an eye out for specially marked Pepsi products for your chance to win exciting Jets prizes from Pepsi, the official soft drink of the New York Jets. It's time for our Stats Amazing segment on Practice Today, courtesy of Randy Lang. Digs up gems every week. How about this one? Corey Davis, this past weekend against the Panthers, was the first wide receiver to have 2 touchdown catches on opening day since Keyshawn Johnson at San Francisco in 1998.
Keyshawn reference there. Corey Davis on pace for 34 touchdowns this season, which would be a Jets record.
And on that note, for more numbers, let's hear from NFL Network analytics expert Cynthia Freeland.
Thanks, guys. I have 3 stats for you this week ahead of the home opener. First, last week, this defense looked great, especially tackling. Per PFF, they had 10 players with over a 70 grade for the game. That's excellent. Also, if you look at Jonathan Franklin Myers and Quinnen Williams, they each recorded 4 pressures, and Bryce Huff, he added 3. Second, computer vision shows that on passes intended to travel at least 10 air yards, wideout Corey Davis created separation at the 10th highest rate in the league in week 1. He was a perfect 3 for 3 with a touchdown on such passes. And last, in Zach Wilson's debut, he averaged over 7 air yards per attempt from a clean pocket. Think of 5 as a great starting point for rookie quarterbacks. Wilson bested that number by 2 yards with a 7.1 air yard average.
All right, for more numbers like that, be sure to watch The Numbers Game with Cynthia and Dan Grasso Sunday at 10:30. And in our game preview podcast presented by WinBet, Cynthia said we need to give a little more love to Marcus May. So with that being said, I do want to give a little more love to Marcus May. Let's talk about the safeties here, because Marcus was always a vital player on defense, but even more so now without LaMarcus Joyner, who's done for the year with a triceps tendon.
He's the veteran leader in that secondary. And, you know, it's so unfortunate. You feel bad for LaMarcus Joyner because the Jets love what he could do, meaning bring him down and play some man-to-man coverage. And you had 2 vets back there. This secondary is very young, very green. I like what I saw out of Michael Carter II. Great pass defense in that game against the Panthers. He ended up with 5 tackles. Brandon Echols on the outside, 5 tackles. Let me tell you something. I know you're asking me about the safety position. I would just say overall, you give up 19 points in the National Football League, sign me up for 17 games. I'll take that. That's fine. When Joyner went out of the game, it was Sheldrick Redwine. Adrian Colbert got in there. Colbert, watch out for him this week, because where was he most recently before he was a New York Jet? He spent the spring and the summer with the New England Patriots.
Adrian Colbert, also a very good special teams player for the Jets on Sunday.
And you have Jared Wilson, who was also brought up from the practice squad. So it's going to be one of those three guys. And you could rotate guys, even though Saleh has said on the outside at cornerback he doesn't like doing that.
It does feel like Colbert it would be a likely candidate to be elevated again from the practice squad, wouldn't you say? Given that the only active players on the roster at safety are May and Wilson.
Well, yeah. Red wine.
And Redwine, yeah. So you could have 3 or 4, essentially. And the one thing I do want to note, if you do activate or elevate a practice squad player to the active roster from the practice squad on game day, you can only do that twice for one player. So if the Jets did do that again, then that would be it for Adrian Colbert. He'd have to be on the active roster moving forward.
And Phillips is a great example of that last week, right? He was one of the 2, and he comes in and he's the 9th tackle. So that just tells you that the Jets are preparing all these guys for their moment. And with 14 players on injured reserve, you never know when you're going to be called upon. And there's a big key to that defense this week as he matches up against Mac Jones. C.J.
Crimson Tide on Crimson Tide?
How about that? Look at Mac Jones, former quarterback from Alabama. He'll be staring at Quinnen Williams. And then behind him, he'll be staring at C.J. Mosley. So a lot of elephants on the field.
You know, I wondered this too. Noah Dawkins signed to the practice squad. Obviously, he has familiarity in this defense being with the Jets in the spring. That's probably why he was brought back, because he is, in fact, familiar. And this is how we're going to wrap up the show. Our cover 2, home opener Sunday, Jets Patriots. Your favorite home opener, EA, was what?
Let's go back to 2009, Rex Ryan's first game at MetLife Stadium. The Jets took home a 16-9 decision. I just remember how loud the building was. You never see Tom Brady have back-to-back snaps where there are delay of game penalties. Dustin Keller getting in the end zone there. And they had this offense flustered throughout the game. Great tackling, and the place was just electric. 16-9. They won that game. And the fans were so good that day that Rex Ryan presented Jets Nation with a game ball. And then you go to the following year, 2010, Ryan's second season, the Jets home opener. They took down the Patriots as well, 28-14, as Mark Sanchez threw 3 touchdown passes. And then finally, I'll give an honorable mention, 2004, Curtis Martin went off against the Bengals, and Chad Pennington, I believe, won his first opener as a starting quarterback.
Well, it'll be this guy's first home opener as head coach of the New York Jets Sunday. Actually, the Jets account, the Twitter account tweeted, these are the top Jets Patriots moments. What moments did we miss? And Max said, the home opener 2009, the loudest sporting event I ever attended. So he thinks the way you think. How loud was it? Simply put, how loud was it?
I have no idea. I mean, what do you want me to give
no,
you?
I don't
decibels?
want the decibels. I want you to be like.
I
want you to be a human. I want you to tell me how loud it was.
Oh, you're saying I'm not being a human.
No.
I think I'm going to come across the table here. I would say that, listen, bro, Tom Brady, when is the last time you've ever seen Tom Brady have back-to-back snaps, delay of game penalties? When?
Maybe
one time.
Maybe that's the only time.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, I wonder if that's charted somewhere. Matt Sickoff is in my ear right now. Did you have our technical director? Did you have a game? Okay. Yep. So listen, it was loud. I think it was that game might rival what you might pick, I think, for your favorite home opener. So as far as how loud it was.
Right, and to lead into that, my favorite home opener was a game where I was actually in the stands, was the 10-year anniversary of 9/11. Jets-Cowboys, Sunday night. Darrelle Revis basically, he picks off Tony Romo, and then I'm sure we'll see the clip in a minute here. The block punt. Is that Joe McKnight, Mr. McKnight?
Joe McKnight, rest in peace, Joe. And then
Isaiah Trufant,
that's right.
And then here's the Revis interception on Des Bryant, Tony Romo, now with CBS. Threw that one right into the hands of Revis Island, who I hear might be at the game Sunday. Just putting that out there.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, sources say that. And there you go, the folk hero through the uprights. Jets win.
Yeah.
What was that game like?
It was outstanding. You know, because I think it's an honor if you are a New York team to play on any kind of anniversary when you remember 9/11. And I think the Jets felt that. I think they felt that they had to find a way to win for everybody in the building, for all the first responders, for all the people who had been, you know, devastated by what had happened on 9/11. And it was a great game. It was an electric atmosphere, and it was an awesome comeback.
Look, Jets Patriots, always some exciting stuff that's going to happen. Like we said earlier, pregame Central, presented by Uber Eats, will be at the Island. We have a loaded lineup this weekend, Jet Life Saturday night. We got Tailgate Center with Nick Mangold on Sunday. We got the numbers game. Then, like I said, we got pregame Central. Then we have the game. And then after the game, of course, back in the studio. This won't take place at the Island, but we have Jets Overtime presented by Nissan. So pretty heavy rotation there. So.
I think this will be a first for me where we're doing a pregame show out at MetLife Stadium. I'm going to jet back here, no pun intended, and get ready for the postgame show.
Well, I'm excited to see what it looks like on the Island. I'm excited to see what happens during the game. And that's all we have here on Practice Today, presented by SiriusXM. We will see you Sunday live at MetLife Stadium.